Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Hey, today's my birthday, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the sad story of the Oakland Roots soccer team at the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Stadium. And the news that the Oakland Roots are now on a hybrid pay-as-you-go agreement that is such that if the Roots are not able to pay for a game at the Coliseum, then, well, they cannot play. And we don't know at what point along the schedule that may happen. It almost happened last Saturday. So you might be thinking, well, how did we get here? We didn't arrive at this after some study of what sport to focus on. We didn't arrive at this after a carefully managed set of meetings with a special task force. This happened because Oakland Roots founder Lindsay Barenz met with Treva Reid at her house, Treva's, when she was Oakland District 7 Councilmember and had a seat on the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority, because Lindsay wanted to play or have her nascent team, the Oakland Roots, play at the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum, but not necessarily in it as it happened initially. They wanted a place just outside of it. All of this came because of politics. Meeting with an elected official, having that elected official march through the idea. There was no staff analysis regarding the size of the industry that they were entering, or let alone the money required to get into it. Nothing like that, okay? Nothing like that at all. And that's my complaint. My complaint, as the person who started the only active sports commission in Oakland's history, is that we don't have a sports commission. The Coliseum Joint Powers Authority is not a sports commission. It is an organization that is designed to oversee the management. Note I said oversee, not even management, oversee the management of the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Stadium and Arena. And we have nothing outside of our relationship with a private management organization that takes care of the day-to-day functions of the Coliseum to actually select a sports team or league to play at our facility. We have nothing like that. Other cities have sports commissions. What do sports commissions do? Sports commissions have a list of rights holders that have sports events. For example, you may have heard of the United States Open Tennis Tournament. Well, that is a type of sports event, and the U.S. Open organization is the rights holder, and so it already has a home. But there are other tennis tournaments that have places that they play at and may move from here to there on a regular basis, annually or semi-annually, allowing each city and persons or organizations within that city to bid on hosting that event. And so there are a number of sports events, well over 200 annually, that offer an organization or a city or a county, a region to bid on hosting those events, to gaining those rights, hosting rights. That at one point included the NFL Super Bowl game. The NFL does not allow cities to formally bid anymore, although a city can aggressively, if they have an NFL team, lobby for a Super Bowl to be in their city. That's another story. So, but back to the Oakland Roots. The Oakland Roots just like all the other politically motivated efforts in Oakland. It's a story of an operation that looked like it was going to succeed, ran into a rough spot, got out of the rough spot, looked like it may succeed yet again, ran into another rough spot, and are in that rough spot. And generally, after the second rough spot, they tend to go away. This is the Roots' third rough spot. Well, technically fourth, depending on how, if you want to consider Alameda as part of it, and the Roots' desire to play in Alameda because the Coliseum ostensibly wasn't available. What could have been done to stop this is for the city to, let's take the Sports Commission out of the equation. The primary point is that the city does not have a robust, firm foundation upon which to build the construction of a business. And that's what we're talking about here, is helping organizations build their business in Oakland. The city should have put money into the Roots and still could. And I don't want to hear this jazz about the city not having money. The tax increment financing, it actually has quite a bit of money. It's just the city is reluctant to even try to tap into it because we have people who lack the expertise how to understand the dollar flows to make it work. Now, if they did, they could have said, we'll invest $10 million, which is a good substantial figure for an organization the size of the Oakland Roots, in the Oakland Roots, and we will, in addition, prepare the Coliseum for it to handle 10 to 15,000 people, and we would properly sized it. We also would have said, look, if we're having this organization to replace Major League Baseball, yet we really want Major League Baseball, then what we should do is prioritize Major League Baseball and get Major League Baseball back in, but then ask ourselves the question, what do we need to do to bring Major League Baseball back, including facilities development? And then focus on that first, make that the priority, rather than having these smaller stopgap efforts. That's the come to Jesus meeting we need to have that we've never had. And it's important because it will properly direct our resources. But again, we haven't had that. We've had this free-for-all. It's that same process that got us to where we had Dave Stewart on the one hand versus the African American Sports and Entertainment Group on the other. And that was the competitive process. To those people who say that the Coliseum never had a competitive process that selected the African American Sports and Entertainment Group, not true. It's just that those of you who say that were not paying attention. And I question why you're paying attention now and your motives. But again, that's another story. We have to stop this willy-nilly. Right now we have the Coliseum. I have long argued that the Coliseum JPA should not cease to exist there. It should remain, and it should be transformed into a sports commission. I still assert that. The African American Sports and Entertainment Group should be the recipient of city assistance, and here's where I believe that should happen, in the form of creating the organization, creating the enhanced infrastructure financing district around the Coliseum that's much needed, creating the public finance authority, and then properly staffing it, and creating the bond issue of X size that can help the objectives of the new sports commission and the reconstruction of the sports industry in Oakland. We need a plan, and we need to have meetings to get us to the formation of those plans and then execute those plans. We need to take this step by step rather than in a hurry group A versus in a hurry group B versus in a hurry group C, all rushing to do something in terms of bringing sports back to Oakland, as opposed to having a coherent plan. And that's what we need. And no, I'm not saying at all that anything that's negative to my friends, the African American Sports and Entertainment Group. Ray Bobbitt knows that. And he knows how I feel about having the city as a whole develop an infrastructure that supports what he is doing as he brings in the Oakview Group and other organizations, which are going to want to have that kind of infrastructure anyway, so that they can properly continue on with the development of their objectives within the objective that has been established by what is now called the Oakland Acquisition Company / African American Sports and Entertainment Group. So where we are right now is in a state of chaos and limbo. We had an emergency meeting Friday that was, by all accounts, not the greatest, and feathers ruffled emerged from that. Now there's a whole new mess that has to be cleaned up there. At some point, my friend Alberto Rocco used to say, who I met when he was representing Latino labor unions when I was representing Oakland Mayor L.U. Harris as economic advisor, Zennie, I always ask this question. If you like what you're getting, keep on doing what you're doing. So obviously the question is, for Oakland, do we like what we're getting? And if we don't, then the other question has to be, why do we keep doing what we're doing? At some point, it's got to stop. I think so. So do you. All right. Subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsonline.com. Thank you.